Hi Flosstube! Welcome to my neck of the woods where I talk about all the cross stitch. My name is Abby. I go by Mountain Mama Stitches here on Flosstube and on Instagram. And today is my second Flosstube episode. It will be an update on all of the stitching that I've been getting into over the past few weeks. Before I start though, I want to send a huge thank you out into the universe for each of you that watched my first Flosstube episode, which was a whip parade, watched it, commented. The comments were just so heartwarming and encouraging, and they really just lifted my spirits so much. And during a time when I needed that, which I'll explain here in a minute, it was lovely connecting with every single person who commented on my first video, and I hope that you will keep commenting and keep connecting with me. That's why I'm here, is to talk about cross stitch with people who get it, and to make friends and in the cross stitch world, in the cross stitch community, and just be connected with people. And so thank you. I just can't even, I'm blown away. I'm blown away by the response. You know, I think every single person on Flosstube says this, but you go into it kind of thinking, well, maybe a couple people will watch my video. Maybe I'll make some friends that way, or maybe they'll, you know, maybe this will connect with certain people who like my style or whatnot. But I was not expecting the response I got. I was not expecting I'm still just like floating from it, so thank you. I love that my Oliver project was a fan favorite, it seems, so that's really fun, and is making me really itchy to get back to Oliver so I can show you guys some updates, because I just saw how many people loved that project. I also want to say thank you to Pam and Steph at Just Keep Stitchin'. They featured me on their Silver and Gold segment this past Sunday on February 9th in their February 9th video, and I'm kind of still pinching myself. I'm like and there's moments where I'm like very confused about how this is all happening. But yeah, they mentioned me as a silver floss too, as a newcomer to the community, and recommended that people watch my video or my my channel and my whip parade, and it just was so cool. It was just amazing. So thank you to them for just thinking I'm doing a good job, and for recommending me and sharing my information. Just really blew my mind. It was so much fun to wake up to that notification that they had done that. I still can't get over it. Okay, so now that I've taken care of the most important part of this video, just a quick update on my life. And I have been, since my last whip parade, which was kind of toward the end of January, I have had my birthday. My birthday was January 31st. Thank you to everyone who commented on that. I know a few of you actually watched my whip parade on my video and said, oh my gosh, I'm watching, messaged me on Instagram and said happy birthday. It was really sweet. My dad and my stepmom came down from West Virginia to visit for my birthday, and also we hadn't seen them at Christmas because my kids had been really sick, and so we got to do Christmas and birthday all wrapped into one. They were here for 5 days, and it was just a lovely visit. We had a lot of fun with them. The day they left, Sunday, Sunday, February 2nd, both my partner and I came down with flu A. So that was unfortunate. And we were very sick. Luckily, the kids did not catch it. We were all vaccinated, but the kids did not catch it. But Aaron and I were quite ill. I'm actually still pretty sick from it. I have a sinus infection that is just refusing to go away, and it's causing me a lot of pain in my face and my teeth. I have a horrible toothache. But I am all dosed up on Advil. I got my tissues, I got my hot tea and honey, I got my water, I got everything I need. And so I do apologize. I do sound stuffed up still, but I'm feeling well enough to record this video, and I was really excited to record it because I wanted to record it last weekend, but I just wasn't well enough. And then on top of all of that, this past Monday, so today is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Today is Friday, February 14th. On Monday, I came down with norovirus, the stomach bug. So on top of flu A, I came down with the stomach bug, and myself and my son have had that this week. It has been a really rough couple weeks, y'all. So we have just not been well. I actually haven't been able to go into my office in 10 business days, which is unbelievable to me, but I have been really conscientious about not wanting to pass this on. So when I have been well enough, I have worked from home and done all of my meetings virtually and had to miss out on some really important things, which has been such a bummer. But I don't want to give people this. So, and we all work in close quarters. So I was like, nope, I'm gonna just do everything virtually. And so I've been resting a lot, working when I can, stitching when I can, and I've been pretty busy with the stitching, and I'm excited to show you kind of what I've been working on. So all that to say, been a rough couple weeks. It's also been a rough couple weeks just kind of in the broader, I guess, like socio-cultural context of things. If you all watched my whip parade, when I did my introductions, you know I'm a scientist. I study mental health in children with autism as well as children with Fragile X syndrome, which is a rare genetic syndrome that causes intellectual disability and also has very high like rates of autism diagnoses in those children. And also runs in families. So in families, there are often many people affected, either mildly or more severely. And so it's something I've been very passionate about all my career. I've done it ever since I graduated undergrad. Ever since I was in undergrad, I knew I wanted to do something along these lines. And so I'm a professor and a scientist, and my work does rely on federal funds, a federal grant that I competed for at the National Institute of Mental Health. And that I was awarded, and we're now in year 2 of that project. And that project is responsible for paying 5 people's full-time salary and benefits and health insurance and all of that stuff, as well as it supports 6 other students who are trained to become masters, who are trained to become speech-language pathologists. So I have a lot of people who depend upon that money for their livelihood and their training and their career development. And it's been a very uncertain time with the changes that are coming down from the White House administration about pulling or blocking federal funding, and also changes that have come down from the NIH that change the way federal grants are administered to universities, which will ultimately result in either my work shutting down completely or at least being so limited that the impact of it will be really significantly limited and stunted, and it's really devastating. So much is changing that we're trying really hard not to get like very attached to any particular outcome or any change as it happens, because a lot of this is being fought because there is a lot of question about whether it's constitutional or legal. And so I do have hope that all of the legal battles will prevail and that we will be able to get our funds as we were, promised, as we were contracted to do the work through the National Institutes of Health. But it has been a very uncertain time for my team. And so there's been a lot of anxiety and uncertainty and concern and sadness and grief about just how these changes could potentially impact our important work. And so I'm not trying to make this political, but I am trying to just talk a little bit about how that impact how those changes are impacting me and my team, which has been really hard. And so the last few weeks have been challenging, both from kind of like an emotional and mental perspective, to do with my life's work, which is my research. I'm very passionate about it, and it is a huge part of my identity. It's very meaningful to me. It's why I get up in the morning and go do what I do, is to hopefully help families whose children are impacted by autism or Fragile X or any of the various mental health disorders that sometimes co-occur with those conditions. So it's been really hard from that perspective. I've been really sick. My kids have been sick. It's just been hard, right? But the thing that's been keeping me going, and the things one of the things that is like really helping me stay hopeful and connected and just not kind of lose myself to despair has been everyone's responses and everyone connecting with me on Instagram and making comments on my YouTube. And of course, my stitching keeps me sane. So I just want to say thank you for being part of that in the past couple of weeks, when I really needed it. And it means a lot to me, and I don't take it lightly. So I just want to say thank you for that. Now that I've gotten 10 full minutes of talking under my belt, let's get to the stitching, right? I have one finish to show you, which I'm so excited about. I have 5 new starts, and then I also have 3 whips that I've been working on, as well as 4 others that I worked on in January, but those were prior to my whip parade, and so you've actually seen you've seen them in their most recent form. I'll pull them out and show them very quickly, but I'm not gonna like talk through stats and stuff. I'm just gonna kind of show you where I'm at with it. So this video is kind of encompassing everything that's kind of happened since January 1st. So like new starts since January 1st, whips I've worked on since January 1st, haul since January 1st, etc. And I will have a little bit of haul at the end. It's not all the haul I've had. I've had quite a bit of haul because I had some Christmas gift cards and things like that, but some of my haul is already incorporated into my projects. And so I'll try to talk about that as I go. So let's start with the finish. Hopefully this is it. Oh, here it is. Okay. I am so excited, you guys. Okay. So, I already unzipped everything and then zipped it as soon as I pulled it out. So this is my Femurs and Fungi SAL. This is from Fine Frog Stitching. That is always hard to say, folks. Fine Frog Stitching. Look at that. I am so excited. It's done. It's done. So this was a SAL that started, when did this start? It started last spring. I started it April 10th, 2024. And it's by Fine Frog Stitching, like I said. It is so beautiful. It was so fun to stitch. Her patterns are awesome. Her use of color is amazing. The shading is just so cool. Like, look at these bones. The shading is amazing, folks. And like, this is no back stitching. I mean, this is just, it looks this good, which is amazing, right? So I am just so tickled pink. I'm tickled purple about this. So let me tell you a little bit more about this project. Like I said, I started it in April 10th, 2024. It has 5,205 stitches altogether. It's 105 stitches across by 145 stitches down. I did it in the called for DMC, and I also used the called for fabric, which is Witch's Garden's Craft Eclipse. Ada, if you guys have never heard of Witch's Garden Crafts, I raved about her in my whip parade. I'm going to rave about her again this time because I just adore her fabric so much. And I did stitches on 18 count. I don't remember what count was called for, but I tend to stitch on 18 count if I can get my hands on it. So my goal for 2025 was to finish this. And at the beginning of 2025, I had 2,738 stitches left to complete. So I was like a little under halfway done. I was like at 47%, I think. That's what it says here. So I'm gonna believe myself. And so in January, I told myself I wanted to finish this by January 1st. And so I picked it up in the middle of January and I just plugged away at it and I had so much fun. I stitched on it for 13 days in January and I completed 2,738 stitches. I finished this at 11:13 p.m. on January 31st. Like, I got it in under the wire, y'all. I stayed up late and got that stitching done because I was so determined. It was on my birthday too, so that was fun. So just one more time to look at it. Oh, it's so pretty. So altogether, this took 22 days of stitching to complete. And I am just so glad it was done. I was a little bit, I think I was like kind of hesitating to work on it throughout the year because I didn't know what I would do with it when I was done. It's not really my style and I wasn't really sure like where would I put it, or like would I make it a Halloween thing? Like, I wasn't sure. But my son saw me stitching on it recently and he's pretty nosy about my stitching, but when he saw me stitching on it, he really liked it and he asked if he could put it in his room, and I was like, hey, problem solved. There we go. So I'm gonna frame this for him and hang it up in his room so he can enjoy it. He likes the bones and stuff. He thinks they're pretty cool. So that was my Femurs and Fungi SAL. I don't know if I told you what it was, but Femurs and Fungi SAL by Fine Frog Stitching, and just so thrilled to have that one done. So it's my first my first finish of 2024, and my only finish so far, but a really big one that I like really put concentrated effort into and felt very good about. Okay, so let's go into my whips. These aren't really in any particular order, I don't think. They're just kind of what came, like what to me was like most significant maybe, starting with that. So the biggest whip, the most effort I've put on things since my whip parade for sure, but really at all this year. This whip is my Magical Wizard sampler, which is also known as the Harry Potter sampler. And this is by AKX Stitch on Etsy. Let me see if I'm gonna try to fold this so it's a little easier to hold up. I do want to get a board, but I'm not there yet, folks. So I also haven't left my house in like 2 weeks, so we'll see. So here is where she stands. This was a whip go call for February. And so if you remember, if you saw my last my whip parade, I had like this, and this done. And I wanted to finish off this like upper right-hand corner of the sampler pattern. And so that involves this really amazing, I mean, this hat is so cool. Look at this hat. It involves this hat, which, let me look and see how many stitches this was, because it's wild. This hat had 1,049 stitches in it. It was a beast, but it is amazing. Now, this does not have any back stitching in it yet. The back stitching on this pattern is really intense, but absolutely will make the pattern pop. I mean, I can show you an example here of the back stitching because I wanted to try it and see it. You can really see how it offers so much. It does so much for the pattern. And so I'm not doing any more back stitching until the end, but it is going to take like weeks to back stitch, I think, because there's so much back stitching. Now, here's the big one. I'm so excited. This is the owl. Here's Hedwig. Isn't it gorgeous? I just cannot get over the shading. This pattern is so well done. It's so well done. It's beautiful. The details are just stunning. The shading is amazing. I mean, like, I can't recommend this pattern highly enough. Excuse me. So this owl had 1,752 stitches. Oh, it's crazy, right? Crazy. Beautiful though. So I did those two first to I ate my vegetables and got those done first. I knew those were going to be the hardest ones to get done. And then I told myself for WhipGo in January that I was going to do 5 motifs total. So I got those 2 big boys done, and then I did some smaller ones, which was a kind of the natural thing to do anyway, because this basically completes this section. So I did this motif here, which is tiny, and then this one here, which is like an inkwell and a feather pen. What is that called? My brain isn't working, sorry. And then the wand here, I did. So those 3 motifs together only had 529 stitches, and they only took a day. But the owl took 4 days, and the hat took 4 days. And they were both big and beautiful. So I'm super proud of my progress on that. I stitched on that for 8 days in February so far. The first 8 days of February, actually. And it's funny, this, I stitched the flu into this because I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, I remember how sick I felt. But I'm sure I'll look back on that and remember that. But I am just really, really tickled about that project. So that was a WhipGo win for me, which feels so good. I stitched 3,330 stitches altogether in February across 8 days, which is just like, oh, so cool. And so I'm now at 38.62%, which is like a huge increase. I was at 23% before. And so now, like, I basically have the entire top right part of this pattern done. So you can see it's a really big piece of fabric, and I'm gonna need most of it. It's a very large, spacious project pattern, in that, like, there are a lot of stitches, yes, but it's also just kind of like beautifully spread out. And so it does take up a lot of space on the fabric, which I am not complaining about at all. This fabric is, let me remind myself what it is. It's Zweigart linen. It's vintage smoky white, and it's in 32 count, I think. I'm pretty sure. And I got it at the Stitching Kitten in Irmo, South Carolina, which I highly recommend. It's a lovely needle workshop, and they ship all over the place. So if you ever need anything, go check them out. Okay, sorry about that. My partner just got home, and he works right here at this desk. He got home from his lunch break. He went out to lunch with a friend, and I was worried that he was going to come sit over here while I was recording, but he's actually going to take his next call from his laptop in a different room, so I can keep going. The joys of living in a small house with a funny layout, huh? All right, so the next whip I worked on was what I call my Korok Seasons project, but it is a series of 4 patterns that are, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall, and I'm working on the winter version right now. It's called Winter Seas by Jessica Doise. I am so sorry. I need to figure out how to say that name. She's Jed X Stitch on Instagram, and also you might have seen her patterns. She's got beautiful patterns. So I got this one off Etsy. Anyway, here's where we stand currently. I didn't get a ton of progress done on this, but I did kind of pick away at it a little bit. I did extend this frame, kind of this little tree here is like the side of the pattern, basically the frame, the edge. So I extended this down a little bit. I did this part of the leaf and this here, and then I also started this huge tree in the middle. I just kind of started framing that out. So again, not a ton of progress, but I am, you know, I love working on it, and I was pleased to spend a little time on it. I only worked on it for 2 days, and I got to 614 stitches in. It's currently 29% complete with 2,600 stitches left roughly. And I'm trying to finish this by the end of March, at which point I will start the spring pattern of this, and I will put it next to winter. So I'm trying to finish each of them by the end of their respective season, which should be doable because they are pretty small patterns. They are like 3,000 to 4,000 stitches each, roughly. I mean, roughly. This one is 3,700 stitches, a little bit more than that, but so I got a little bit of work done on that one, which I'm happy about. Let's see, what else have I done? Oh yeah, okay. So I did get a little bit done on my long dog sampler. This was a whip go call for February. I am not done working on it in February. I actually just started working on it in February. So I worked on my Harry Potter sampler first as a whip go call, because that was one of my whip go calls, and then this is the second whip go call. I'm not gonna pull this out of the hoop. I use Nerge. I'm not gonna pull it out of the hoop just because I am kind of, like, as you can see, actively working on it. I even have a thread dangling there with a needle. But I will show you a picture of where it was at, like in my whip parade, and I'll show you a picture of the pattern as well. But all I've done so far is just like add a few little things here, and this is just going to repeat, like, I think one more time, and then that's the end. So my goal for whip go is to finish this band. I'd also, as like icing on the cake, I would like to finish this border here and this border here. And then when I get to the end, I want to start working on the border over here, like the vertical border, because I want to be able to, I have a hard time stitching on this project because I think I'm a little bored with the repeating motifs. I'm learning that about myself. So I want to be able to, if I have like both the left frame and the right frame set up, left border and right border, then I can extend that border down and start a different band if I want to. Like if I'm having a hard time getting myself motivated, and if it's like I just need to stitch on something that looks different in a different color and stuff. So that's my goal, is to get over here and like get that border at least kind of started to get set up so that I can use that to start a different band if I want to. So sorry, that's not super visually exciting, but you know, that's where it is right now. I did make this grime guard myself. It is terrible, y'all. I don't know how to sew. I'm learning. I got a sewing machine in January and I'm learning. It's not going super great yet, but I'm learning. So that one has been on the needles, or, you know, it's been in a work in progress since February 28th, 2024. So this was my Leap Day Long Dog SAL project. And it is on 32 count Lugana and antique white. I got that from Hollis Hands Creates on Etsy. So I've only worked on that one day so far. I got 64 stitches in, but hey, I started it, I pulled it out, and I'm gonna work on that for whip go, get another whip go win, and that'll be amazing. Okay, so the remaining whips I'm gonna talk about, you've actually already seen to this point. You've seen it in my whip parade. So I'm not gonna like spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but because I did stitch these in January, I want to at least celebrate that and like talk about it. And that way too, if you didn't see my whip parade, obviously go back and watch my whip parade. But if you didn't see my whip parade, then you can still see what I've been doing. Okay. Oh, okay, well, this is a little bit of a mess. It was a little bit of a mess for my whip parade too, and I haven't touched it, so there we go. Okay, so this is my Spring in the Shire project. This is a pattern by Crafty Ninja Digital on Etsy. It's on 18 count pre-gridded Aida. And thank goodness for that gridding, because it makes my life a lot easier. It's a full coverage, but it's not huge. It only has 22,547 stitches in it altogether. And I'm using the DMC called for, I'm just doing everything as called for. So before January, I had that done. That's where I was at. It was a whip go call in January, and past Abby was delusional. And my whip go goal was to work on to complete 3 pages. I had no idea how many stitches were actually in 3 pages. So that was like a hopes and dreams goal, not like an actual goal based in reality. So I have done like the equivalent of 1 full page plus about 20% of a second page. I stitched 5 days in January on this, and I stitched 1,333 stitches. It's currently sitting at 24.44%. I'm feeling pretty darn good about that progress for January. I think that I would have worked on this a little bit more if I hadn't focused on the finish for femurs and fungi. But I'm okay with where it's at right now and feeling pretty good about how it's actually turning out too. I really love it. This is one of those projects that's very has a lot of meaning to me personally because of my experience going to visit Hobbiton, the Shire in New Zealand when I was there a couple years ago. And so it's going to be that little, Hobbit hole is right here, getting ready to start working on that, which is kind of fun. So hopefully I will pull this out again this year, and keep working on it, as the mood strikes. But that's where I'm at so far. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Sorry in advance. It's rough, y'all. Okay. Oh, this is my favorite. Oh wait, hold on. I have to put this back where it belongs so I don't forget. Okay. So, excuse me. Okay. So this project is my Snow Queen from Mirabilia. Oh, I love her so much. Okay. Again, she looks the same as she did in my whip parade. I'm just pulling her out to show you guys what she looks like because I love it. So this is my Snow Queen. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. That makes me want to work on her right now. I wish I didn't have to go back to work. Okay, so this is my Snow Queen. She's a Mirabilia pattern. She is being stitched on 32 count. Picture this plus linen in Gothic. I'll pull it back and show you the whole effect. It reminds me of the Northern Lights, which is why I picked it, and I wanted something really dramatic for her, and the colors they could not be more perfect, honestly. They are absolutely perfect for her. So that's where she stands. She is gorgeous. I went to town on her in January. I stitched approximately 3,500 stitches on her in January 2025. I stitched for 10 days. I'm at around 14% now, and I think I have around 23,000 stitches remaining, including the beading. There's a lot of beading on her, so that will be a new challenge for me. She's my first Mirabilia. Not my last, but my first. And I have really, really loved working on her. I think one thing I knew people were really into, they loved, the people who love Mirabilias, really love Mirabilias, right? And I was always excited to figure out why. I had just not necessarily been drawn to a lot of them yet. And so I saw that one, and it was definitely immediately yes. And now that I'm actually stitching it, I understand kind of the reason why people enjoy them so much. There is something very intuitive about the stitching, about the way the pattern is designed and the way the colors work together. It's a really enjoyable process to me. I'm sure not everyone believes that, but to me, it's a very enjoyable process of stitching. And I often am left wanting to like when I finish a thread, I want to do another one because I want to see where it goes, right? I want to see how it looks and what it turns into and how it plays with the other colors that I've used so far. And it's just really a lot of fun. Here is my Oliver. Let's talk about Oliver real quick. Here is what he looks like, or here's what the pattern looks like. He was the fan favorite, I think, of my whip parade. Again, I haven't made any progress, but I will show you where I'm at in case you didn't see my whip parades, and just so that you know what I've been working on. And here, oh God, he's so gorgeous. Here he is. Look at that. You can't tell it's an owl yet, but I promise it is. Oh, he's so cute. So Oliver is by Yasmin's Made with Love. I got this one at this paper pattern at the Stitching Kitten, but she does sell her patterns in digital form on Etsy, which I, of course, in retrospect, wish I had bought, but I also am glad I could support my L&S. So that's a good thing about that. It has been a little hard getting the paper pattern into markup, though. That's been a challenge. So I am doing a color conversion on this pattern with Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. I think there's one Gentle Arts thread in there. I wanted to make the colors of the flowers a little more peachy or corally than like bright pink. And I really wanted the blues to be an overdyed, because there's just like so much beautiful opportunities for like the variegation to really shine. It's lovely. Okay, so that's Oliver. What have I done here? I worked on him, I guess, only one day in January for 332 stitches, and I'm currently at 31%. So I'm excited to get an opportunity to pull him out sometime soon and make some more progress on him. And he is stitched, I didn't tell you what fabric he's on. He's on a 40 count Picture This Plus linen called Tycho or Tycho. It's beautiful, like yellowy, neutral, very pretty, very subtle modeling. I love this fabric. I definitely am going to get more of it, I think. This is my first time stitching on 40 count, and I'm a fan, folks. I love it. So that is Oliver. And then the last one I worked on in January was my Mill Hill Amaryllis kit. This is a gift from my mom, hopefully for Christmas of next year. I promise as an amaryllis. It doesn't look like one right now. Let me find the picture for you. Here's what it's gonna look like. And so here's what it looks like currently. I love my magnetic frame. It's really made a difference for me for stitching. And this was a whip go call in January. I actually started this December 31st so New Year's Eve of, this past New Year's Eve. And I worked on this 6 days in January, and I got 2,000 stitches done, which was my whip go goal. So another whip go win. And I got to that, I accomplished that on January 22nd. I worked on it, like I said, 6 days. And then, so I'm currently at a little over 37%, and that includes the beading. So you can see I'm done here with this bottom part, other than the beads, and I'm done with like the center part kind of extending downward. I started at the center and was working like color by color, and then I was like, this is getting a little hard to keep track of, and it made me really want to get to the border and like get the border in so that I could have a frame of reference for what I was doing, because I was making a lot of mistakes, partially because I'm working on perforated paper and it's just different. The counting is a little bit different, and I'm not as good at that yet. But also because I just didn't have a whole lot of I didn't have a frame of reference. And so I worked my way downward to this bottom like band so that I would have that bottom border done. And then I've started working my way up, and I'm gonna work all the way across. But by the time I hit 2,000 stitches, like I hit my whip go goal, I was like done with working on this. Stitching on perforated paper is not my favorite. It's definitely gotten easier now that I have the magnetic board, or the magnetic hoop frame, whatever. But it's still not my favorite. But I am so excited to see how this looks when it's done and to gift it. So I am gonna continue working on it. I just don't know that like I'm gonna do this I'm not gonna always have a Mill Hill kit like this going, I don't think. I like the ornament, I like the smaller ones. I think I like the smaller ones, but these bigger ones are not necessarily like my my favorite. Let me see if I can you see that? Anyway, sorry. You get the gist. It's in my whip parade as well, if you want to see more. Okay, so that was all my whips. Now I'm on to my new starts. So I had 5 new starts since January 1st, and most of them were planned, I think. I am an impulse starter, and I tend to go through phases where I just start a bunch of stuff, and I tend to do that when I'm stressed. So I'm kind of proud of myself for not starting like 30 things over the last month. So let's show you what I did. Not that there's anything wrong with starting things. I think starting things is a lot of fun. And where is... Okay, there it is. I was like, the fabric wasn't in my bag. I don't know where it fell out. So, okay, so this beauty right here, folks. So I love her so much. Okay, so this is A Study of Nature by the Artsy Housewife. A lot of people have stitched this over the last year for very good reason. It is a gorgeous pattern. And I started this on January 11th. So beautiful. So I started this on January 11th. I am using all of the Dinky Dyed called for floss, which is a mess right now, sorry. So here's my Dinky Dye floss, and I think there's one, nope, that's Dinky Dye too. Here's the Dinky Dyes called for floss. So gorgeous. So gorgeous. I think this color right here is my favorite. Oh, kind of matches my, I like this color, period. It's like one of my favorite colors. So teals and like aquas are all my favorites. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about my motivation behind this project. So I bought this fabric. So it's the call for fabric. It's the call for color of the fabric. It's a Weeks Dye Works fabric called Aztec Red, and it is gorgeous. This is a 36 count. The pattern actually calls for a 40 count, but I had purchased this fabric. This is one of the first fabrics I ever bought myself. I should say first fancy fabrics, right? From like a hand dyer. One of the first fabrics I ever bought myself, and I bought it at the Stitching Kitten the first time I went out there. And well, first of all, discovered we had a local needle workshop, and then discovered it was absolutely amazing. So my first time out there, I bought this fabric. I had no idea what I would do with it, but it was so beautiful and I could not help myself. I bought this one and another one that I'll show you later. Both of which were like very not like, they're not like, they're very like specific fabrics that you would only really be able to use on certain projects, if that makes sense. They're not like generic fabrics that you could use on anything. But they're beautiful and I bought them. I didn't know what I wanted to do with them, but I bought them anyway. So I bought this one then, and it sat in my stash for almost a year because I didn't know what to do with it because it's very unique. It's very, very like a brick red. It's beautiful. But it doesn't go with everything, right? Like it's not the kind of fabric that you could just kind of like, I don't know. I've said that already a couple times. Anyway, I bought it and it sat there. And then I've been watching everyone stitch their studies of nature and been oohing on over them and knowing that I wanted to stitch them. Stitched eventually. I bought the pattern and, you know, had that sitting in my library and whatnot. And then I actually looked at the pattern and realized that it calls for this fabric. This exact fabric, which apparently was really hard to come by for a while. Once that pattern was released and everyone started stitching on it, no one could find this fabric. And I had it in my stash, sitting there for a long time. So it felt like it was meant to be. And so then I went to the Stitching Kitten and I got the Dinky Dye silks. And this was the first time I have done a pattern in all silks. And I'm gonna tell you, these right here have become a gateway drug for me. So this right here it's all this fault. This is their fault right here. I have now become a silk fiend, basically, because I love stitching with it. It's so nice to stitch with. I had, you know, my Snow Queen has the water lilies. It has 2 colorways of the Karen water lilies, which is nice, and I enjoyed it, but I hadn't actually like done like all the stitching in a silk yet, and so yeah, so now I have a lot of silks, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So I worked on this in January for 4 days. I got a little over 1,000 stitches in, and I'm at about 8.5%. So I do have 11,000 stitches remaining. You know, it's a pretty dense pattern. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Now my nose is red. All right, I edited that out. You're welcome. It's a pretty dense pattern, and there are a lot of stitches in it, but it is beautiful. I can't wait to see how this is going to continue to kind of unfold in front of my eyes as I stitch it. So that one was super fun. I started that, like I said, January 11th. I think it was my first new start of January. If I might be wrong, but I think so. The next one, I also love, I love all my new starts. Of course I do, right? Okay, the next one is called, I'm gonna talk a little quieter because this is for my son and he's here. I don't want him to hear me. He's probably gonna hear me though. Okay, so this one is Ruskin's Penguins by Modern Folk Embroidery. And we have a penguin obsession in our house. Big time. So first I'll show it to you and then I'll tell the story. Here's where we're at. Oops, sorry. Here's where we're at. So cute. I know it doesn't look like much yet, but that penguin is adorable. Okay, so Ruskin's Penguins. Like I said, we have a penguin obsession in our household. Oh, and also before, I'm sorry, I'm so ADHD. Look at my needlewinder. I'm with the band books. I love it so much. I talked a little bit about this in my WIT parade, but my son and I had the immense privilege and amazing opportunity to go to Australia last May, and we went for 2 weeks. I had been to Australia once before, and it's very near and dear to my heart, as is New Zealand. And I had a conference there that I had to go to, and but it is actually the conference I go to every year. It's pretty important for my work, and so it happened to be in Melbourne, Australia, and we planned for several years. We knew for several years that it would be there, and we planned for several years in advance so that my son could go too. He was 9 at the time, and I saved up miles on my credit card. We really worked hard for him to be able to go, and his principal and teachers were like super supportive of it. It was really an amazing trip and memories that will hopefully last a lifetime for him. They definitely will for me. So it's just him and me flying across the world. We went to Melbourne, we went to Sydney. And when we were in Melbourne, we did a day trip. So we stayed extra, we came before the conference and then stayed longer after the conference as well. And he was a good conference buddy. He did a great job being my conference buddy. We stayed extra. We did a lot of sightseeing, and we went to Phillip Island, which is a beautiful island, about 2 to 3 hours from Melbourne. And we took a day trip, like a tour, with some friends. And on the island is this amazing penguin sanctuary, and it's a sanctuary for the blue penguin. It's also known as the little penguin or the fairy penguin. But it's the smallest penguin species on Earth, and it is actually blue, and it is just adorable. It's adorable. And so we got to go, and every night these penguins a group of them returns from the ocean up and literally parades in groups. They go in groups up the beach and into the dunes to go back to their little nests. And so every night, thousands of penguins come home, and they call it the Penguin Parade, and that's exactly what it looks like. And it is such an amazing, magical experience because this penguin preserve is so beautifully designed, and you're able to walk and stand on this really intricate walkway that's just above their nesting area, and it's very dark. We're not allowed to do flash photography or anything. They don't have lighting. It's just kind of very dimly lit so that it doesn't mess up the penguins. They're doesn't get them confused or anything. And but the penguins are just chirping and making noise and greeting each other and walking up and going home at the end of the day. And my son just loved it. It was amazing, but he really, really, really loved it. And he had this moment where he sat there at the rail and looked at this one penguin for like 10 minutes, and that penguin just looked back at him, and they just like stared at each other. He like, talked to him, and penguin like chirping and making noise, and he just really connected, and it was amazing. And so now we have a penguin obsession. He wants to be a penguin scientist or a penguin doctor or a penguin zookeeper or a penguin trainer, all of which I am like, yeah, let's do it. You know, you got this, kid. So I'm definitely encouraging it. So everything is penguins, and it's precious. He's almost 10, and I know that it's just so, he's starting to grow up and starting to grow out of a lot of the like more childlike things he was into and like interests, and seeing him still have that childlike curiosity and awe and wonder about something is just, it is so meaningful to me and to our family. And so we really encouraged it. So 2024 was the year of the penguin. 2025 is also turning out to be the year of the penguin. And for Christmas, he got a penguin encounter at the Georgia Aquarium. And so in January, we went to Atlanta and we went to the Georgia Aquarium and we spent a day there. And he, as his Christmas gift, got to do the penguin encounter, where we had to like touch the penguins and pet them. We got to meet 3 African penguins. Oh, they were precious. It was super fun, and we just had a blast. And of course, there's penguin paraphernalia all over his room, and you know, he wears penguin t-shirts. I mean, it's so much fun. So anyway, this is for his birthday. All of that to say, this is for his birthday. And that's why penguins are so important to me right now. But he is so into penguins, and this pattern is so precious. I'll have already shown it to you at this point, but the saying is so cute. It says, one can't be angry when one looks at penguins, I think. And the story behind that is in the pattern. It is adorable. It's basically, I can't remember the specific details, but it's a naturalist or a scientist or something was writing a letter to a friend, and he was saying when he gets upset or depressed about the state of the world, that he goes to, I think it was the London Zoo, or I'm going to read it next time, but he goes to a zoo where he lives and he looks at the penguins. And I'm about to cry because I feel like that is like what a metaphor for our lives right now. When you get depressed about the state of the world, go look at penguins, because one cannot be angry when one is looking at penguins. It's just perfect. Chef's kiss. Okay, should I talk about the actual pattern? Maybe I should. Like I said, Ruskin's penguins, modern folk embroidery. 36 count, picture this plus linen in the colorway Mirage, which is very beautiful. Also kind of hard to stitch on. So I actually started this January 17th, which was MLK weekend, because that was the weekend we went to Atlanta for that trip. So I wanted to start it in commemoration of our penguin encounter. I will say I tried to start it on that trip, but the weave was a little too tight for me to do it in the car, and the darkness of the fabric plus the weave. I was having a hard time seeing in the car to stitch, and I was actually getting a little car sick, which I don't usually get, but I was having to focus so hard and like really like pay attention to where I was putting my needle, and I was getting a little like queasy from it. And so I got a couple stitches in on the car ride there, and then we were in an Airbnb, and the lighting was not conducive to working on this kind of project as well. So I didn't get much stitched, unfortunately, that weekend, but I did get it started. And since then I have worked on it for I've worked on it 4 days altogether, and I've gotten 693 stitches in. I am changing the pattern slightly. So it calls for like a black and a white, overdyed. I'm just using 310 and Blanc from DMC. But then I'm also, I don't know if you can see it, but I am, instead of doing some of the stuff like the words and this little heart in the color that was called for, either black or white, I'm actually putting it in blue, which I thought was really pretty on that fabric and would be really pretty in my son's room. And that is DMC 597. And so I did change it slightly, and I'm really excited to see how the words turn out in the blue. Now this is living in this beautiful project bag that I bought just for this. She's so cute. This is by the Crafty Husky on Etsy, and I love that it has, where's my penguins at? Here's my penguins. It's got penguins and it looks like the blue penguin, which is what I loved. Got penguins and owls. I have several owl projects too, so, or I have, you know, a couple in my library at least, and one in the works. So, and then I got this cute little zipper pull. Whoop, 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 whoop. Can we see it? Look at that. I got that from Classy Glass Charms on Etsy. Only recently have I begun really like kitting out my projects with like corresponding project bags and zipper pulls or needle minders, and I mostly do it for the projects that really mean a lot to me, that I want to, even once I'm done, have like a remembrance of, and like so that whenever I do use this project bag in the future, I will think of this adorable little project, right? And the needle minder is from the Black Needle Society. I got that from the vault. They sell their past box contents from the vault. Okay, now, folks, oh my gosh, I'm just so excited about my starts. Look at this beautiful bag. It's huge. Oh, huge. Okay, so this is my birthday start. This is a Reflet de Soie pattern. Sorry, I meant to do this before my video started. I'm sorry. That was terrible. So this is a Reflet de Soie, Ernestine Briere, 1909. And she is a beauty, folks. I just can't even. I love florals like this, these big, like, blousey florals. I love them so much. I love the colors. I saw this pattern and fell in love instantly. And so for my birthday, I decided I would start it. It is a beast, and I hope that I can finish it before I die. And I'm only like a little bit exaggerating. So I did buy this from 123 Stitch using a Christmas gift card I had. And I also got the fabric. Let me get this put back in here. This is getting a little crazy. There's a lot to this project. So this one is one that I kitted up very intentionally with the accessories like being the way they are, because this project is A, gonna take forever, and B, it's a birthday start, and I wanted to celebrate the fact that I was doing such a beautiful project for my birthday. So where do I start here? Okay, so let me show you what it looks like currently. It doesn't look like much after all that intro. You're gonna be like, really, Abby? That's it? So here's where I start. It's tiny, but it is gorgeous. Only 2 colors so far. This is on a 20 count Ada by Fabric on a Whim, a cream and sugar colorway, and it is a huge, huge cut of fabric. Huge. Because this is a huge pattern. It is 357 by 351. It has 46,000 stitches in it. And it has 31 colors. And I actually, it calls for Soie d'Alger. I probably said that wrong, but it calls for that. It also has a DMC conversion. But, you know, I mentioned that the study of nature, dinky dyes have become a gateway drug. So I actually opted to go for a Vicky Clayton silk conversion for this one. And I am so glad I did. So she has a conversion on her website. It was there already, and I purchased it, and I am absolutely in love with these. Just in love. They look messy, I'm sorry, but they are beautiful. The colors are just so good. Look at this blue. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So these are 31 colors. These are on, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the kitting process. So these are, these floss cards are floss cards by the Cottage Cat Designs. Heidi, the Potty Mouth Stitcher here on Flosstube. She has an Etsy shop, and it's called the Cottage Cat Designs. And I found them, and I just thought they were so perfect. And so I ordered some, and I got them, and I loved them. And then I realized I didn't have enough. Because then I realized I got the silk conversion as well around that time in the mail, and I realized I had 31 colors and 20 floss cards. So the day after I got them, I was like, help, Heidi. And I told her what happened, and she said, well, lucky you. I actually just made a bunch more that looked like that. And so she made a special, you know, order for me on Etsy, and I got those from her. And so they're a little bit different, but they're not, they're very much the same like theme. So like there's that, and I mean, you can't even tell they're different. And they have a different color in the back, but they are just so gorgeous. So she was so sweet to, you know, I got lucky, but she was so sweet to hold those for me and send them to me immediately instead of listing them. She just listed them as a special order for me, and I got them a little bit later, maybe a week later at tops. She sent them immediately, but my mail was very slow. And then I finished kitting it up right around my birthday, and so I started on my birthday. Now, so there's that, and then let's talk a little bit about the bag, which also has everything in this kit has a saga involved in it, I swear. So this bag is by Garden Grove Stitchery on Etsy. Oh, it is so gorgeous. I loved it instantly. I felt like it was the perfect vibe for this project. It just felt like it fit. And I loved the birds in it. I loved it. So I ordered it, and I ordered all 3 parts. It has a thread, wallet, needle, you know, this beautiful little thing here. And then it also has a little notions bag. And I ordered all 3. And then once I had everything kitted up, I discovered it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit in the bag I'd ordered, which was an 11 by 14, you know, a standard 11 by 14. Actually, I'll show it to you. Here it is. 11 by 14 vinyl front bag. So it wouldn't fit. I couldn't zip it. I couldn't get it in there. Especially when the fabric is on the hoop. Definitely can't get it in there. So I messaged the owner, the maker at Garden Grove Stitchery, and she made me a custom size bag, and she mailed it the next day. I mean, can you guys, I just can't, love it. So I sent her a picture of the project in the 11 by 14 to show her like how tight it was, and we kind of estimated that we needed I think we said maybe 3 inches on each side. So I don't know the exact size of this, but it's perfect. And so it's much bigger. It fits everything without like squishing it. I can zip it. I'm just so pleased, and the customer service from both of those Etsy shops were just like through the roof outstanding, and the products are awesome, and I'm just thrilled. So all that to say, that was a saga of kitting, but it was super fun, and I'm very pleased with how it's turned out, and I love pulling this out. I've only done it once, but I love pulling it out and working on it. I love admiring it. So I have worked on it one day so far, my birthday, and I got 177 stitches done. So not much. I'm 0.38% complete. That's gonna be a long one, you guys. I love it though, and I can't wait to work on it more. But yeah, beautiful. Okay, and then my last new start is the Fantastical Greenhouse SAL, which is by the Tiny Modernist, and it is, as expected, absolutely adorable. My needle minder says, please don't make me repeat myself. History. Okay, so this is the Fantastical Greenhouse. Look at that snail. Oh my gosh. He's so cute. Anyway, this is my Fantastical Greenhouse SAL so far. Part 1 came out on February 1st. It has, it's a pretty bulky, it's a pretty big project. It's got 4,468 stitches. Part 2 comes out on March 1st. Spoiler alert, I will not be done with Part 1 by the time Part 2 comes out. But I feel really good about the progress I have made so far. So this is the top third of Part 1. And this right here, like Part 1 starts, like this is the middle of the pattern, the overall pattern. So you can see like, here's where it is on the fabric. This is a 36 count Picture This Plus linen in Nessie, which is one of my favorite fabrics. I'm using this for my Korok seasons as well. And I loved it so much, I actually really wanted to order another piece anyway. And then when it was the called for linen for this SAL, I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm going to get that. So I got it, and I'm glad I did, because the Witch's Garden Crafts fabric, like I said, didn't really work for this. It just, the red and the oranges really clashed with that purple and turquoise, and it just didn't look good. I also thought it was too busy, and it was gonna really kind of distract from all of the detail in this pattern. There's so much detail. Look at that watering can. Oh my gosh. Y'all, it's just so cute. Anyway, I'm gonna stop being a weirdo. So I made some great progress on this one. I started it, oh, I don't have my start date written down, but I started it like 3 days ago. So whatever that was. I've worked on it for 3 days. I've got 1,164 stitches in on it. And I'm happy with that. I'm gonna probably take a little bit of a break now. Just because I want to work. I have decided to focus on a finish again in February, and I want to work on that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But here are the threads, the flosses. I have them braided. They're so pretty. Look at that. They're so pretty. Yeah. I have them braided because a lot of these were on bobbins before I put them on floss drops, and so they are very kinked and they're getting tangled very easily because of that. And so I'm trying to tame that a little bit by braiding them. I don't often do that, but it does look really nice and neat. And especially since I decided, okay, I'm gonna set this aside for a little bit, then this is a good time to kind of take, wrangle the flosses a little bit. Okay, and so I'm about 26% done with part 1 on that one. So I feel pretty good about that. I will pick it up again before the end of February, but what I wanna do is I want to work on a couple other things, which I'm gonna just go ahead and talk about now. Is there anything else? Oh, this is the other bag from the Garden Grove Stitchery, the one that I originally got. It's so cute. Okay, so what I want to talk now about is plans. I have some plans for the rest of the month. So the first thing I want to do is restart my Stitch4Pride SAL. And I also want to work on that WIPCO goal of finishing the green band on Resistance is Futile. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to start Anzac. Anzac is it's a Long Dog Samplers pattern. I will post it here for you. I'll show you the picture. It is a beautiful, I mean, they're all beautiful from Long Dog Samplers, but it basically, it features motifs and like creatures and things all from New Zealand and Australia. And I have mentioned already in this video, Australia and New Zealand are super special to me. They are the favorite places I've ever visited on Earth, I think, and I want to commemorate that if I can. And so I'm working on that. I'm gonna put it on this beautiful piece of fabric. Oh, so gorgeous. Gosh, I love fabrics, guys. Don't we all though, right? This is a Picture This Plus 36 count. It's linen and it's in feldspar. And I've seen several people using this lately. It always looks just absolutely amazing. Amazing. It's this beautiful like blue, but also a little bit of like olivey brown kind of. It's just gorgeous. And it is 36 count, like I said. It's a fat quarter. It's gonna be tight. That's the only concern I have, is it is gonna be tight. I've measured many times and I think it's gonna be okay. It's just, I'm gonna have a little less than 2 inches on each side. And so I am nervous about starting it because I'm not sure if I should start it maybe in like the upper, and I should say across, the across is gonna be the problem. I have plenty of length for the stitch, but the across is the problem. Long Dog Samplers are, historically, they're big. They're big girls. So, and this is no exception. I'm trying to look for the piece of paper that comes. I don't know where it is. So I can't tell you the information I was going to tell you. Sorry. There it is. Found it where it's not supposed to be. Over here. It's 233 by 243. And it is over 29,000 stitches. So what I'm going to do, and if you watch the Thread Gremlins, Caroline has been stitching something in this. Oh, she was using this for her Modern Folk Embroidery seasons, like the seasons SAL, or seasons project they just finished. It was really good. You guys should go watch that video. It's great. Anyway, she was talking about Sulky 12 weight. And I've heard other people talk about Sulky 12 weight too. And I was really curious about it. And so I ordered a couple of different colorways of it. that I wanted like a blue-green colorway. I want it to be tonal, but not like ghosting if I can avoid it. So here's what it's gonna look like. I mean, here's what the thread looks like against the fabric. And this was absolutely hands down the best one that I picked 3 different colorways. The others were more like turquoise or more blue. And this one has a much more emphasis on green. And the best part is that the colorway is called eucalyptus, which is like the tree of Australia that is what the, it's a very common tree in Australia. So I was very excited about that. So I was tickled by that little coincidence. And so yeah, I am going to start this sometime soon. I don't know where or when or how, but I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna use this sulky, 1 thread, because it's on 36 count, picture this plus, which is really tight, and I think it'll be perfect. Now, I hope I did my math right. I did it like a bunch. I've done a lot of math for this project. But I calculated that I need 240 meters of thread for 30,000 stitches on 36 count. I hope I did my math right. I used a bunch of online calculators and they all gave me something a little different, which makes me nervous. So I calculated I'll need 240 meters. Now this has 270 meters. So what do we think? Do I need to order another one just to be safe? They're not that expensive. They're like $10 to $15 with shipping. I'm like kind of terrified of not running out and not being able to find it. Also, Sloan Stitches, Jess from Sloan Stitches, also another great channel, you should watch it. She is using sulky on a long dog right now, and she did run out, and she can't find the same dye lot, and it looks very, I mean, it looks enough, like different enough that it's annoying her. Do you know what I mean? I think it's gonna look fine in the long run. But it looks different enough that she's like spent a lot of effort and time trying to find various dye lots to get the colors to match up, and they just don't. And so then I'm like kind of nervous because of her video of like depending upon one, especially if she's needed. I don't believe that I only need 1 of these. Like, it doesn't seem right to me. If anyone has any advice on how to calculate that information, please let me know, because I'm a little skeptical, and maybe I'll just order another one just to be safe, to avoid a catastrophe. Anyway, I'm excited to start Anzac, and that'll be a long-term one too because it's so many stitches, but I love, love, love the motifs in that one. They are just precious, and so I am just thrilled to work on that. This is a new project bag I got from the pop-up stitcher. It's not themed, it's not thematically related to Anzac. It's actually a Frozen project bag, and eventually I want to put my Snow Queen in here, but I'm not sure if she's gonna fit. Same problem as before. That one has a lot of fabric too, but it's really beautiful, and it's like pop-up stitcher is very very like fortified. Like, it's very like sturdy. It's amazing. I don't necessarily have like a preference about how stiff or like stand-up-ish my bags are, but I do like that hers are so fortified. And then the other thing I want to work on, my final kind of goal for the rest of February, is I think I do want to focus on a finish. And I want to focus on a finish for my Love Is Here sampler. Let's see if I can get this to, I love this one. I started this last February. I'm halfway done. I have almost 3,000 stitches remaining, but I think I can do it. I think I can do it. It's only February 14th. We're halfway through the month. I think if I really buckle down, I can do it. I might not finish exactly at the end of February, and that's okay, but I want to finish it. It's so cute, and it deserves to be finished. So, and it would also, again, I like, you know, my goal for this year, you know, my loose goals, I'm not much of a goal stitcher, but my loose goals for this year are to finish off these projects that are like over halfway done and have like under like 4,000 stitches in them. Because they are so doable, you know, they're so finishable. So yeah, I'm excited to focus on a finish. So this one I'm actually going to, this is like kind of the next thing I'm going to work on moving forward. So I'm excited about that. All right, so we're getting a little long. Sorry about that. I tried not to rush and talk too fast, but I also had a lot to talk about. So let's talk a little bit about haul. So if haul's not your thing, totally get it. I love haul most of the time, but sometimes it's a little much for me, so sometimes I skip it. But if you're not in a haul, thank you so much for tuning in so far, and I hope you join me again in the future. And I hope you connect and comment, and if you like what you see, I hope you subscribe, and tell me a little bit about yourself or what you connected with in my update video. Okay, so moving on to haul, for those of us who are into haul, I wanted to show you the wad of dinky dyes I have, the literal wad. So again, this is 3 different assortment packs of those mini skeins by Dinky Dyes that I got on Etsy. And so I got 60 mini skeins for $60, blowing my mind. So this is just what they look like. There's a lot of them. They're beautiful. They are beautiful. I'm so excited to have these handy because I just love the idea of being able to, especially for things where, for things where I don't need a ton of floss. I know like the motif is small or the pattern is, I don't need a lot of floss, whatever. These are perfect because I can use those silks. They're so beautiful. They're so lovely to stitch with. I just want to like that. Oh, here's another one. This is the one I pulled out and actually started using for my Stitch4Pride so far. It's really pretty. Really pretty, it just doesn't work for what I'm doing. So anyway, that's my Dinky Dyes haul. I really can't recommend this enough. And the owner of Dinky Dyes was so sweet to me. So the second shipment with the 2 assortment packs got lost, and it was saying it had been delivered and it wasn't there, and it was like 4 or 5 days past when it was saying it had been delivered. And I usually give my postal service a couple days because oftentimes they say it was delivered and then it just shows up like a day later. But it just kept not showing up and not showing up, and I was like, oh, this is such a bummer. I was really looking forward to it. I did reach out to Dinky Dyes and just asked her, is there anything you could do? And she said, she offered to replace them, which I was like, I was amazed by. It is not her fault. It is not. I thought it was a long shot, and I also kind of feel almost guilty because it's not her fault. I don't want her business to lose out. But she was like, yeah, we will replace those. But she's like, but would you mind waiting like a couple more days just to see? And literally the next morning they were in my mailbox. So I was very happy to be able to tell her that. But I thought it was so nice that they were going to be willing to replace something that the U.S. Postal Service had potentially lost. Oh man, talk about good customer service. All right, so the other thing, I already showed you one of the Witch's Garden Crafts fabrics that I got. I got 2 others as well. I got this one, which is so cool. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it, but it is so cool. It's got a little bit of a spot there, but I don't mind, it's awesome. This is a 16 count fabric. It's Aida, it's called Burst. You can see why. So I just got to figure out what to stitch on this, and how to make sure it like will really highlight that awesome pattern in the fabric, the dye. I'm feeling I'm going to be sitting on it for a while I figure out what to do with it, but it's beautiful. And then this one is 18 count. This is a fat quarter, and it's called Petrichor. And this is the fabric that's called for in the Fine Frog Stitching Plants and Petrichor SAL, which is already completed, but I love the finished product, the finished look of it. And so I am going to start that at some point this year. And so I wanted to get the fabric while I was already getting something else from Witch's Garden Crafts. We can't make fabric travel alone. It can't be lonely. So I went ahead and got this while I was there, knowing I would need it for that SAL or that pattern eventually. So that's going into the stash and waiting until I'm in the mood to start. What I love about Witch's Garden Crafts, I love a lot of things, but they always send a little charm, which is so cute. I'm actually going to work this into my Femurs and Frog, my finished product, and I'm also going to work it into the Plants and Petrichor. It's really neat. And then they also always send little snippets of fabric, which is so great. Like, these are perfect for an ornament. Look at that. Oh, it's such a fun color. And so they're little offcuts, I don't know if they're oopsies or if they're just like leftover snippets from fabric, but she always sends these, and I just love that. And she also sent a needle threader this time for both of these. They did come separately. I goofed up, and I ended up putting 2 separate orders in. I checked out before I had put the final fabric in. I just wasn't paying attention. And so then I ended up having to put a separate order in. And so she did end up having to ship them separately, but as part of that, I got 2 separate little goodies. So thankful for that. Love her fabric so much. All right, and then I did get 2 patterns. Let me show this first. I did get another bag by Pop-Up Stitcher, and this is a Harry Potter themed bag. I love this one. It has a little, little thread bed in it. So well done. Look how cute. And it also has, look at this. A little pocket. It's amazing. So this is by Pop-Up Stitcher, like I said, and so was that Elsa one that I showed you earlier. And then the tag on it is from the Black Needle Society from the vault. It says Sirius Black on it. I'm not sure what project I'm gonna put in this yet, but I loved it so much. It's also on sale, and I loved it so much I was like, you know what, that needs to live at my house. So all right, and then the other 2 things that I have are patterns, and they're adorable. So these are paper patterns. I did get some PDF patterns, but I'm not gonna show those just yet. They were just kind of ones that I came across on Etsy and just put in my library because I liked them. But these I really want to stitch this year. So these are from the Black Needle Society, again from the vault. I did put an order in from the vault, I think late December-ish, maybe early January, I can't remember. So this one is from Silver Creek Samplers. It's called On the Naughty List. Oh my gosh. We have a beagle, and she is very naughty. So this is perfect. And so this is going to be stitched for next Christmas. It says, he's remaking a list. I've eaten it twice. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's amazing. It's so cute. And it reminds me of our naughty little beagle. So perfect. I am going to try to get it into markup. We'll see how it goes. And the other one feels so important right now and lovely right now too. This one is by Heartstring Samplery. It's called An Ode to Libraries. And it says, the very existence of libraries affords the best evidence that we may yet have hope for the future of humanity. And it's just so beautiful. I'm a bookworm. I love me a good library. And I love flowers too. And look at those birds. Oh, and a butterfly. It's just so beautiful, y'all. So this is gonna get stitched this year too, or at least started this year. This one I hope to finish this year for Christmas. This one won't get finished, but I'd like to at least start it. It's so pretty. So I got those from the Black Needle Society vault, and I took them out of the patterns are in the bag. I took them out of the bag so it wouldn't have to crinkle and everything, but they're over here. So I think that's it. That was a long update, and I appreciate if you stuck with me so far. You're the best. I am so glad to have you here. Again, just thank you so much for the support and the love you've showed so far. I'm still floating, and I will continue to do so, I think. I'm not gonna get over this anytime soon. But I really appreciate each and every one of you who has liked or subscribed or commented or sent me a message on Instagram or, any of it. It's so much fun. I feel like I'm really connecting with people, and I love that. So thank you so much, and I hope you get lots of great stitching time in. I hope you're all staying healthy and well and not catching the flu and norovirus simultaneously, because that is 0 stars. I do not recommend. And I hope you all are doing well and staying safe and sane in all this craziness. And just know that I'm sending all kinds of love and peace out into the universe for you. And I can't wait to talk to you again. Okay.